Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to run through a collection I bought recently from a viewer of the channel. His name is Shane. Great guy. Gotten to know him quite a bit. He's obviously, a huge card guy. And this is not his entire collection. This is just sort of one little corner of his collection, we'll say. It's a very impressive corner. Don't get me wrong, and I'm very excited to have bought it. But he's got a bunch of other stuff as well. Bought this on my last trip to the U.S. a few weeks ago, and like I said, got to know Shane a little bit, and really cool guy. Hopefully can do more business with Shane in the future. But this deal here is entirely Cal Ripken Jr. For those of you who watch the channel regularly, know that Cal Ripken Jr. was my guy growing up. Huge fan of his, and so this collection for me was like being a kid in a candy store. Just every single card, there it is, Cal Ripken Jr. And you can see a lot of them are graded. I didn't count. I feel like it was something like 400 graded cards. Might have even been more than that, or a lot more than that. I didn't do an official count, but every card graded. Starts in 1983 with his second years, and you can see a Topps in a 10, his OPC in a 9, Fleer in a 10, and his 83 Donruss in a 10, and then some oddball stuff like a sticker there from 84 and a 7. And every single card is different. That's graded anyway. No duplicates in the graded cards. Basically running from 83 through not quite present day, but there's some 84 Topps, OPC, Topps Tiffany, his Topps All-Star, his Donruss, and not every card. The majority of cards are PSA 10s. I guess there's a large amount of 9s, like there's a Topps Tiffany and a 9. And there's a few that are less than that, but I'd say off the top of my head, something like, 2/3 of it's 10s, 1/3 of it is 9s, and then there's a few scattered lesser here and there. 85, and it's going, like I said, it started from 83 and it's going to go up to present. We started in 83, now we're into 85, 86 Topps All-Star in a 9, 86 OPC in a 9, 86 Topps Tiffany in a 9, 86 Fleer in a 10, and the entire collection is just going to be like this. So this is like a total blast for me, obviously. 86 Fleer All-Star in 8.5, 86 Donruss in a 10, 86 Sports Flicks in a 10, 87 Topps in a 10, 87 OPC in a 9, 87 Topps Tiffany in a 10, 87 Topps Tiffany All-Star, that one gets an 8, and an 87 Donruss in a 10. So you can see the entire collection is sorted. Every graded card is in a sleeve. It's all in order by year and then by brand. I mean, Shane was obviously a meticulous collector, which makes things really nice. Every PSA holder is super clean, and like I said, everything's in order, going from 83 up to present day. I imagine so. The collection is mostly base cards. There's a few inserts and parallels scattered in here and there, but for the most part, it's all the base cards. And I didn't check, but I imagine he had basically every base card from the 80s and the 90s. 87 Donruss opening day, 87 Sports Flicks, these are all 10s. 87 Fleer Glossy, 88 Topps Tiffany gets an 8. The Topps is a 10, the Donruss is a 10, the Diamond King's a 10, the MVP is a 9. What is that? Donruss All-Stars gets a 9. So I think he has all the base cards from these years. Probably maybe missing a few here and there. Actually, I'm sure he was. But Fleer in a 10, Fleer Glossy in a 10, Score in a 10. Yeah, like there was no Score Glossy. I just found one he was missing. 89 Topps Tiffany in a 10, 89 Donruss in a 10. Probably most of these don't have very low pop counts. I imagine some of these might, though. Some of the sort of oddball, like this one here, 89 Donruss All-Star, that might be a low pop in a 10. I don't know. I'll have to check that stuff. 89 Fleer Glossy in a 9, Donruss All-Stars in a 10, Sports Flicks in a 10. It's sort of a nice, look back through baseball history. You get basically one card from every set from the 1980s here, or at least one card from every set, sometimes more. And then we're going to do the same thing in the 1990s. So just a very, very impressive collection to have put together. Obviously, a labor of love that took many years for Shane to put together. And he's obviously a huge Cal Ripken fan, just like me, so, no surprise there. But I think he's sort of, looking to sell to sort of get some extra cash to fund some of his next collections. Like I said, he has some other collections already and is going to looking to expand on one or two of them. Some 1990 Donruss Cal Ripkens, these are all 10s. I guess that one's a 7 with the Air All-Star. Fleer in a 10, Fleer Players of the Decade in a 9. That might have been the Error copy. And then, yeah, here's the corrected. Score, Sports Flicks, 1990 Leaf, 1990 Upper Deck, 1990 Bowman. These are mostly 10s. Some oddball stuff like that. 1991 Topps, 91 Topps Record Breaker. I think he has a 91 Desert Shield in here. Yeah, the Record Breaker coming up. 91 OPC, 91 Topps Tiffany in there. So 1991 Topps Tiffany Record Breaker, and the 1991 Topps Desert Shield in an 8. Topps Micro, 91 OPC, 91 Donruss, 91 Donruss, 91 Fleer. Again, the majority of these are PSA 10s with some 9s scattered in here and there. But just a really, just a really cool collection. You know, this could have very well been on the video I made a couple weeks ago about just, impressive collections from around the hobby. This obviously took a long time to do. Oh, there's a duplicate, 91 Stadium Club. He had 2 of them. But this obviously took a long time to put together. Look at this card, 1992 Topps cool card where he's in front of the Lou Gehrig Hall of Fame plaque, who obviously ended up breaking Lou Gehrig's famous, consecutive game streak record at some point. But moving through the 1990s into 1992 here, 1992 Donruss, 1992 Donruss, 1992 Donruss, 1992 Donruss. Those are all 10s. Oh, there's an insert 92 Donruss Diamond Kings in a 9. 1982 Fleer. I guess there's a couple of duplicates here and there, but not many. A couple inserts from 1992 Fleer. So what's funny about Ripken is, well, and any player from this sort of eras. So Ripken retired in 2001, but when you get into the 2000s, he actually has more cards, after he retired than he did in many years during his playing days. Like in 1992, for example, here there's probably 8 brands or so producing cards, and Ripken may have a total of something like 25 cards, let's say, maybe 25, 30 cards in total. Whereas in a year like, let's say, 2014, he probably has hundreds of cards. So sort of funny to think that he has more cards in years when he retired than when he was playing. But in a year like 1992, where he has about 30 cards or so, Shane basically had every single one. He might have been missing, 1 or 2 of the ultra high-end inserts or parallels, but it's very possible he had every single one. And this box appears to be out of order. Where's where are the 1993s? 1993 box should be next. Who organized these? Not my research department. They would never make such a mistake. Must have been somebody else. But when you get into the late 90s, it's no longer the case. There's just tons and tons of brands, 50 brands producing hundreds and hundreds of cards, all sorts of impossibly rare inserts and stuff like that. Here's 1993, back on track. So in the late 90s, he certainly didn't have, every card of Ripken. But in the, I would say from 83 to about 93, he probably had 90 to 95% of all Cal Ripken cards that existed. And again, all in PSA holders, and most of them PSA 10s. Really impressive collection. 93 Finest, 93 Studio, 93 Select. A lot of just, like I said, sort of like a walkthrough of baseball card history from the early to mid 80s through the 90s and then into the 2000s as we're going to get there. Now into 1994, you got 94 Donruss, 94 Flair, 94 Bowman. Again, most of these are in PSA 10 holders. 94 Bowman's Best, 94 Finest, 94 Leaf, 94 Leaf Limited, 94 OPC, Pinnacle, Select, Studio, 94 SP. These are all major brands, SP die cut, there you go. Stadium Club, that's an insert, that's another insert. Stadium Club, Ultra, Upper Deck, 95 Topps All-Star, Topps Traded. It's by here where the brand explosion of the 90s sort of started. So by this point, there's probably, there's quite a few cards that Shane didn't get as part of his collection. There's just too many, and some of them are just like wildly expensive and impossible to find even. Might even be the bigger issue. Stadium Club, Virtual Reality, what was that? Studio Platinum, Studio Gold, I like that set. Ultra, that's one of the lower graded cards, that was a 5. Collector's Choice, Select, 1995 Upper Deck there. So we're going to get into the late 90s here, and what exactly am I going to do with this collection? I haven't actually 100% decided yet completely, but almost want to keep it together for a little while just out of respect. But there are a number of cards in here that'll go into my PC. This isn't specifically what I collect in regards to Ripken, but there are a number of cards that will go into my PC. Mainly, there's a 96 Finest, Topps Mystery Finest Refractor, 96 Topps Chrome, PSA 10. A number of cards that will go into my PC, but mainly the earlier ones, the 1983s, the 1984s, all those PSA 10s will go into my PC. And certainly some, like this one, certainly some cards scattered throughout, 96 Finest Gold, PSA 10. Cards scattered throughout that'll go into my PC as well. And the rest of them, haven't haven't really mapped it out yet. Certainly some will go to ComC. Certainly some will go to some of the low-end auction houses. Certainly some of them will be lotted up for eBay, and I'll probably just hold on to a bunch and sort of decide what to do with them later. There's a serial numbered card from 1996 Studio Master Strokes. It's numbered out of 5,000. It's funny to think that a card serial numbered out of 5,000 was at one point considered sort of rare, but that was the case in the mid 90s. That's when they first. Well, there's a 1996 Upper Deck Hot Commodities die cut cool card. They first started serial numbering cards I guess they first started serial numbering cards in the early 90s. There's a Refractor, Topps Chrome, 1997 Topps Chrome, PSA 9. And they first started serial numbering cards in the early 90s, and it sort of started catching on in the mid 90s. But a card numbered out of 5,000 was considered a rare chase insert card. Funny to think of compared to today. Today, a card numbered out of 500 wouldn't even be considered rare. There's another Refractor, 1997 Finest Refractor, Cal Ripken, PSA Mint 9. Love all the 90s Refractor sets, especially obviously anything Ripken. 97 Flair Showcase Row 0, Row 1, Row 2, Pinnacle Museum, Pinnacle, I'm not sure what that is, Ultra, 97 Studio. So getting into 1997, and it's by here where the hobby has basically exploded and gone absolutely berserk with die cuts and all sorts of parallels and inserts and refractors and serial numbered stuff. And there's no way anyone could get every Cal Ripken card from 1997. It's just there's 101s, and it's literally impossible. Whereas in, say, 1993, that would have been a very sort of manageable goal. 1992 or 1993, for example. 97, not possible, but 97 Upper Deck, Collector's Choice, 98 Topps Chrome, 98 Topps Gold Label, Donruss Signatures, Donruss Elite, and more. And yeah, 98, 99, it just keeps getting crazier, and to around 2000, I feel like it starts to chill out. I haven't really looked into that much, but that would sort of be the guess off the top of my head. 98 Bowman Chrome, Bowman's Best, Flair Showcase Row, I didn't see, but a different row number. And there's probably more Showcase Row 3, Finest, Leaf Rookies and Stars, Score, another Score, Topps, 98, what is that, SP Authentic, 98 Stadium Club, Studio, Upper Deck. So I've owned most of these cards, many times before over the course of my life, but very many of them never in PSA holders, and certainly many of them never in PSA 10 holders. So that alone made this a really cool collection to buy. I've certainly never bought a collection with this many graded Cal Ripken cards before in all in one shot. So that alone just made it very, very very cool. Like I said, very very much like a kid in a candy store type of thing. Even the cards that I've had many copies of it at some point, never in a PSA 10 holder. SPX, Stadium Club, Upper Deck Victory, Upper Deck Encore, Upper Deck MVP, Upper Deck Encore, UD Ionics, Ovation, Ultra Rapid Fire Edition here. And there was 1984 panel card, M&M's card with George Brett, PSA 7, and a jumbo card from 1985 SP. And it's around the 2000, like I said, around the 2000s or the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, when the hobby sort of peaked in terms of number of brands. And then by this point, there were just too many brands because the number of people involved in the hobby had actually gone down throughout the 90s, and the number of brands each year had gone up. And so at some point, it got to a point where it didn't work anymore, and the hobby had to sort of chill out and back off of all the brands. So a lot of these brands you see here, didn't last very long. UD Classic, UD Reserve, stuff like that. Brands that sort of only stuck around for a year. Leaf Rookies and Stars obviously stuck around a long time. But there's the first jersey card, Playoff Prestige from 2003. Studio, in 2003, Topps Archives, that's still around. SP Legendary Cuts, and more goodies. And so now we're into the years where after Cal Ripken had retired. So all these are, post playing day cards. There's the first autograph. I think there were three autographs in here. This is a playoff timeline BGS Mint 9. Nice looking card. Auto with a quad patch, and it's serial numbered out of 50. That'll go into my PC for sure. Nice card. 2007 SPX, 2010 Topps Blueback, 2010 Topps, I don't even recognize these off the top of my head, 2011 Topps Mini card. So when I first got back into the hobby around 2011, something like that, or not back when I first got back into the hobby heavy, when I sort of became a dealer and started doing it full time, So you can see the years these cards are from: 2011, 12, 13. But when I first got back in, I was really only focused on vintage and well, I guess 1980s and back, sort of maybe into the early 90s. But I really didn't do anything with modern. So I've actually never owned most of these cards you're looking at here. Oh, look at that beauty! That's a patch auto from Topps Triple Threads. Triple Threads really makes beautiful cards. Look at the patches on there, nice colors. And that card's serial numbered out of just 9. Wow, that'll go into my PC. But what I was saying is that these years, 2011, 12, 13, 14, I was heavy in the hobby, but I really did nothing with modern. So I actually I'm not very familiar. I'm not an expert on these years by any means. And I never sort of collected Ripken in years after he had retired. So other than the occasional patch card, and I obviously went out of order here because these are from 2000. So my card sorting department will be reprimanded for that one. But back to 2000, those were 2000 Topps, and here's Bowman Chrome and Bowman's Best and Finest and SP and SPX, Stadium Club Chrome, Upper Deck Victory, Upper Deck Ultimate Victory. I think the blue is the Ultimate Victory, Ultra, Upper Deck. These are all from 2000. And it's around here, around 2000, when I sort of dropped out of the hobby for the first time. I never fully dropped out, but I was super big into the hobby in the 1990s. There's a refractor from 2001 Topps Chrome. Super big into there's another one from the same set. Super big into the hobby in the 1990s. All throughout the 1990s, it was the number one hobby in my life. There's a third Topps Chrome refractor from that set. And then around 2000, I sort of dropped out, went to college, got into other things, and around 2011, I got back into it big when I became a dealer. But from 2000 to 2011, I wasn't very heavy into the hobby. I was involved. I would buy some cards here and there, and sell some cards on eBay here and there. But it was very little, and it was mostly focused on the stuff from my childhood, 80s, early 90s, and maybe some vintage. Certainly didn't do anything with the modern at that time. So I certainly never bought packs or anything like that. So from those 10 years, I really am not that familiar with the cards, and even into the teens, I'm not that familiar in terms of I wasn't actively involved in the hobby when those products were coming out. But that's it for all the graded cards, which is really sort of the heart of the collection. There's actually there's another graded card, 1986 Topps Super Cal Ripken. I don't even remember where you got these. Maybe in a case or something like that. This one's a 7 super jumbo card. But then there's a whole bunch of ungraded Ripkens as well. I think what he often did was sort of buy a bunch of copies and then sort of pick the best one to decide which to send to PSA for grading. Remember, this is back when PSA was $10 or $8, and you could get even less if you sent in bulk services. So today you couldn't send in a lot of these cards to PSA. It just wouldn't make any sort of financial sense. But back then you could send in all sorts of stuff. Nice, very, very different time in the hobby. But you can see a lot of nice stuff, and some of this stuff he didn't have in the graded section. So some of these were, I think, to be graded at some point. Maybe the PSA price hikes sort of put a halt to that part of the project. But again, just everything's sorted really nicely. Everything's sorted by year. Everything's very clean all the ungraded stuff clean in a sleeve and then a top loader. Very meticulous collector, which I have a lot of respect for. And you can see again sorted by year. I guess not all of these are full, but there's 83 as second year. He had more of the second years, and 84, 85, etc., etc., etc. Let's check out these 83s. 83 Topps, Donruss, and 83 Fleer. Those are all second years. And if that's not enough, we still have another box and another binder after that to go. Like I said, this is the largest Cal Ripken collection I've ever purchased in my 30 years in the hobby or whatever it is. And all the cards in this box are in semi-ridges, and there's a Mike Trout card. I guess that's the only non-Cal Ripken card in the entire collection. But you can just see more Ripken, just endless goodies for me to play with. And I hope this video does some sort of honor or does some sort of tribute to this collection, because it is getting split up here. And as a pure collector at heart, that sometimes is a little, you don't want to see that, but that is what's going to happen here. But I just want to say again, thank you to Shane for reaching out and selling me his Cal Ripken collection. Very cool. And the last thing we're going to go through is the binder, and there's some loose pages of cards here as well. But the binder is well, you probably guessed it, all Cal Ripken cards. And now that I think about it, there were actually 3 really, really nice cards that didn't make it into this video for whatever reason. I think I already sorted them and put them into my PC by the time I recorded this. So I didn't need to think about them. They just went straight to my PC. It was a 92 Donruss Elite autograph and 2 of his minor league cards from 1981. Not the big money 1980 blue or orange border cards, but the 2 in 1981 minor league cards, which are really sort of pretty tough cards in their own right, and those went straight into my PC. Anytime I'm going to get a minor league card of Ripken, that'll go straight into my PC, and anytime I get an autograph of him, that goes straight there as well. So that those were sort of no-brainers, didn't have to think about it, just went ahead and put them there. But you can see in the binder more Cal Ripken cards for me to thumb through, play with, sort, and have some fun. So that's it. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed and appreciate this collection as much as I do. Thanks, guys.